Welcome to the HayQuatChat.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Well, what are we here?
So,
What are we
what's
here
the
for?
HayQuatChat, sir?
Well, um, we are. This is a long form podcast format with Skyblock in the background. Is simply put what it is.
It's so that the Gen Z can watch if they want.
That's right, because attention spans these days aren't what they used to
Mhm.
be. Um, but yeah, this is gonna be. We're gonna go through a couple topics. I took no notes. Jag took all of them. That's
I literally just have 3 lines of topics.
perfect. Perfect. That's what we're after. So if you're here for intensive gameplay, Skyblock stuff, this is probably not the show for you. Because this is gonna be very grindy, very not necessarily enjoyable to watch. It's gonna not be cut up. It's not gonna be processed or anything like that. This is gonna be a long form, designed to be an audio podcast sort of situation. Um, we're probably not going to talk much about gameplay. This is just simply in the background for fidgeting purposes only. Um, you
Made
know,
that joke about Gen Z, but like it it's hard to not do something with your hands when you're trying to talk to someone.
right, right. So this kind of is a place where it's like we've been YouTubers for, or in the past for 7 years ago, something like that. Small time YouTubers where we did it for years. I mean, we did the YouTube game for actual years. I mean, I was in the game for what, 6 years, 7 years, and then we took a 7 year hiatus after that because I started when I was 16. You were 18
Hmm.
when we met, and I am 28, 27. I will be 28,
Basically when I started.
right? So that to say, oh, you got that. That's good. That to say, we well, goodness.
We grew up.
We grew up, yeah. Things are a bit different than they used to be for sure. I have 2 kids and one on the way. You've got 3 kids. We're both married. I still live in Alaska, but I have a mortgage,
I still live
standard.
in Idaho.
You still live in
Goodbye.
Idaho. Yep. You came to my wedding. I came to your wedding. Um,
Hmm. We didn't get video footage of me going to yours though.
no, no, that's true. But we weren't. I mean, in fairness, we weren't really doing that kind of thing at the time. So
Hmm.
So it's interesting. Yeah, our worlds have kind of changed a little bit. Um, I've
How are we gonna do that?
my oldest child is gonna be 4, and you have a child that is how old?
My eldest is 7.
Yeah, that's crazy talk. Crazy talk because she was born around the same time. Um, you were still doing YouTube when she was born.
Hmm.
I was well out of the game before I had kids for sure. My life took an interesting turn for sure. I think where I last left off on YouTube, I was engaged to another girl. I was talking a lot about that, and yeah, that didn't work out obviously. But I married the love of my life, and we had 3 kids, 2 kids so far, one on the way, like I said. So it's been an interesting balance because for the longest time I didn't even have a computer in my house for the longest time.
Yeah, we just occasionally would pop on Sea of Thieves on
Yeah, we
the Xbox.
play Xbox once in a great while, and then do Uh, a lot of Mario Kart. You guys have gotten to know my wife pretty well. Um, she's not as public of a person as I am. She's still pretty extroverted, but not nearly as much as I am. Um, but but yeah, interestingly enough, yeah, we've done probably what family game nights. We did them for years and years, where we played Mario Kart or Mario Party or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not every week, but pretty close for the most part, with a few breaks in between.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was pretty consistent. I don't think it was ever like every single week, but like
No, no.
for a while there it was consistently like every other.
Mm,
And then we'd have a few months in between.
yep. As life change,
Mm-hmm.
lots of
Because you
different
were
stuff.
moving was one of them.
Yeah, that was last year I moved
Job
into this place.
change.
Yep. Had a lot of job changes. Um, you had a lot of job changes. I had a lot of job changes.
Yeah,
Um,
I went from like 3 different restaurants. And now
yeah, I
I'm
got,
working at a credit union.
which is awesome. That's great because you were hating the freaking food
Service
industry.
industry.
Yeah, I was.
I love cooking. I had issues with people owning it.
Well, it's
Didn't know
the
what they were talking about. I
pro-
think if she had been a little nicer to me, I'd probably still have been working there. I wouldn't have searched for a new job.
well, to be honest with you, the number one problem with food service in general is uh, I don't want to say it's easy to start, but it's certainly it's
Easy to not
certainly
be qualified.
easy to not be qualified to own for sure.
Mhm.
Oh,
It's like I saw a statistic about how like the number one like self-employment that people start is a restaurant. Like it's like the dream things like, "Oh, someday I want to be self-employed and I'll own a restaurant."
you know what the weirdest thing
It's
about
like the
that is
top
though?
thing.
Is like everybody wants to start a restaurant. I just don't understand it whatsoever. I would never own a restaurant in my life, but I also don't enjoy cooking. Fundamentally, um, all in all, do not enjoy cooking. I can cook. I was a bachelor for a while, but definitely never something that I set out to do or wanted to do. I always made pork chops and corn when I was a bachelor every night, steak, you know, green beans, the basics.
Hmm.
Um, I eat and cook out of a necessity, a need to live, not so much a not so much the enjoyment thereof.
Yeah,
But it's weird, yeah.
which
So
I very much will. I crave certain things, learn how to cook them. I very much enjoyed cooking.
that's how my wife is. She she will come up with something that she craves or wants and figure out how to make it.
Hmm.
And that's
I think the only thing I haven't fully figured out how to do is like Panda Express stuff.
really
Because there's lots of copycat recipes, but they don't taste the same.
it's interesting because I my wife is part Filipino. You wouldn't know it by looking at her, but she grew up relatively culturally Filipino. Um, and we eat a lot of Asian food in general as a result. I don't know that it's necessarily a result. It's honestly probably more related to the fact that I don't know what it is. They're just very exploratory with food, that family. So we get a lot more. We eat a lot more kind of different foods and stuff like that, which is weird because I grew up on casseroles and um, very Midwest kind of style cooking, um,
Mhm.
lasagna, those kind of things. A lot of pre-made stuff,
Yeah,
but
I didn't even have that fancy a diet. My mother would cook the meal for almost every single night for dinner. It was rare that it wasn't.
mm,
This is mashed potatoes, some sort of protein, pork chop, roast, and then either canned green beans or canned corn.
That makes
Was
sense.
almost every single night's meal.
See,
It
we weren't
was
a
it was rare that there was an exception to that, like a casserole or
we weren't
never
really a
lasagna. We
can.
didn't really eat a lot of pasta.
So we didn't. I mean, I guess we did eat a little bit of pasta. I mean, we still ate our basic meat and potatoes and stuff like that. But when I got married to my wife, um, when I got married to my wife, I got a lot more interested in Thai food. So it's interesting because I grew up very like white European kind of household. Very low spice tolerance. Very, very low spice tolerance. In fact, I hated spicy food when I was younger. Married my wife, now lo and behold, I absolutely love spicy food. Which is interesting because my oldest daughter does as well. Actually, I was joking about the fact earlier that my oldest daughter was pouring sriracha on her salmon burger earlier, like just pouring it on, saying that she wanted spicy sauce. And then I asked my youngest daughter if she wants some, and she wanted the mayonnaise, or as she called it, ice cream. Um, and then I put some on her burger, some mayonnaise on her burger, and then she goes, "Ooh, hot!"
Mm.
And I was like, it's literally mayonnaise." So I
Wasn't
thought,
even like Miracle Whip that
nope,
has like added spices and stuff.
nope, it was Kewpie mayonnaise.
Ooh, Koopy mayonnaise.
That's the good
I like
stuff.
Koopy mayonnaise.
Yeah, it'll change your religion, that stuff. But but it's interesting. So yeah, I go for like the spiciest curries at the restaurants and stuff like that. But it's super weird. I never ate. It really wasn't really the most healthy thing either. Obviously, we're millennials. I mean, you and I probably both grew up on relatively processed foods comparatively,
Mm-hmm.
at least comparatively to previous generations.
Definitely.
Um, but it's interesting because I went from very much a like prepackaged food situation with my upbringing to my wife makes everything from scratch. She straight up makes or just buys ingredients. And I thought this was insane when we first got married because everything we have is just raw ingredients, which by the way keeps me healthier because I'm not snacking all the time. Nothing's convenient to make. Um,
It drives my wife a little bonkers if I don't drive or buy some like convenience foods once in a while for her.
yeah, I mean we get a couple things now and again, right? But but and the stuff she cooks is so like efficient and nutrition dense that it's like I put spinach in everything now. You know, my girls in the morning, I'll put spinach in their eggs and stuff like that a lot of times. Um, but it's interesting because but I'm also the healthiest I've ever been in my life. So it's uh, it's weird because I had really bad acne when I was in my younger 20s, right? I had way less energy, um, joint pain, back pain, all that stuff. A lot more of that. Um, I work out regularly, as much as the next guy. But it's interesting because my dietary changed way more than I expected it to.
Hmm. Your diet change is pretty different than my diet change.
What was the what was the change you made? Well, oh
Uh,
yeah, that's right. You
I
went
went carnivore for a little while, then kind of adjusted it to be more animal based. And by animal based, I mean like the
anti-vegan,
majority of my calories coming from animal products,
so the opposite of a
not
vegan.
necessarily not necessarily everything I eat being animal based.
So it's like a vegan, but opposite of that.
Opposite of
Literally
vegan.
the farthest possible thing from a vegan you could possibly be.
Hmm.
How's that been working out for you? I've heard people say that That's a really good way to go. It's a weird adjustment period, but
The only times that I don't feel good is when I like cheat on the diet and like I'm just happen to be craving carbs or pizza and I have it, and then like the next couple of days I'm kind of like basically paying for it.
that makes sense. You lost any weight or anything on it?
I lost like 30 pounds.
That's pretty good. And that's just with the dietary change. Any lifestyle change, like working out or anything like that too?
Not really.
That's
Like I
pretty.
didn't change how much I was working out at all.
Do
I
you have a
recently
regular
am
workout?
working out a little bit more, but
Do you have like a regular workout routine?
I was going to the gym at my work on lunches. So like an
Your work
hour
has
at
a
the gym
gym.
every day.
It's pretty good. But you were doing that step thing for a while too, weren't you?
That was only like a month.
That was it.
But like I'm starting to I have a tendency to not take my breaks at work because I kind of take my breaks whenever I feel like it.
That makes sense. I
We
think.
don't have like a set time to take breaks,
Are
so
you
it's like
salaried or are
you
you
have.
hourly?
I'm hourly, but they don't have it scheduled out, so it's like up to you to take your breaks when you want to take them, basically.
Gotcha.
Um, and I'm forcing myself to take those because I have a tendency to just skip them
Hmm.
because I just get busy with something else, forget
Oh,
about it.
I'm the worst about that, man. I skip lunch. I skip my 15-minute breaks, and I'm salary, so I basically can work, come and go whenever I please, take breaks whenever I please.
Hmm.
But if I wanted to pick up and work right now, I totally could. I work from home 4 days a week too, so that helps.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Um, and then on my lunches now, instead of going to the gym, I replaced it with playing ping pong with coworkers,
Hey,
which ping pong can get pretty intense.
I was gonna say ping pong's kind of
Good cardio.
that can be a pretty crazy sport for sure. No
Just
doubt about
depends on the
that.
number of people we have because we only have the one table, so we have to take turns.
Yeah.
And if it's usually like the loser switches out, so if I'm not having a good ping pong day, then I don't really get much exercise.
You know, I would never
But
really
then there's
picture you
times
as a
where I've
ping pong
been
guy. Are
dripping
you any
sweat.
good at it?
Huh?
Are you good at it?
I don't think I could compete professionally, but like
You,
we had a little tournament at the work and I got third place at it.
out of how many
Out
people
of
though?
I think it was like 30, 40 people that we had participating.
That's not bad. That's interesting. I just wouldn't pick. I don't know why. I just wouldn't picture you as a ping pong guy.
I didn't start playing ping pong until I was working there. And I
Interesting.
just happened to like get friends with someone. They're like, "Hey, let's play ping pong," and just got better from practicing on breaks and such.
Oh, well, that's something.
Hmm.
See, my extracurricular sport activity is wood processing.
Wood processing,
Yeah, so
like
when
a
I
beaver.
yeah, basically like a beaver. Yeah. No. No, I mean like so I have a wood stove in my new house. And that's
Oh,
large
yeah,
chunk of the a very large chunk of the heating that we have. So basically, the more wood I can gather and um, supply and process, chop, cut up everything, um, the less heating oil I have to pay for. So uh, last year, I moved into this house in August. So I didn't really have. So I live in Alaska still, like I said. So the, kind of the drawback to that is winter really starts in like September. So I had zero, basically zero opportunity to get wood or do anything like that for um, before I moved into this place. So I had to buy it all for the most part. But even just moving it and stuff like that, and I chopped a few trees here and there, let them dry, and split the wood and everything like that. But not nearly as much as I could have. But fundamentally, I just bought the kiln dried stuff from the kiln in town. But this year, I'm gonna start here probably this month or next month. Start buying actual um, what you call it, or start going out and getting my own wood, going out into the woods and getting it. I actually have a guy that I used to work for, one of my former bosses, that lives right down the road from me, and he's clearing a huge section on his property of good spruce and birch wood. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take everything he cuts down, and then I'll process that up and stuff like that. But swinging an 8 pound maul and chopping wood and cutting it up in a cutting it up in a with a chainsaw and then hauling it, like moving big logs and stuff like that. I do a lot of that, not as much as some people, right? But I need 7 cords for a winter to get me through a winter, which I think is like 8 by 8 by 4 is a cord.
That makes sense because my parents, when I lived with them, basically, they were relying on about 5 cords of wood.
Mm-hmm. How big was the
That's what
house
he
though?
would plan. It's smaller than yours.
Was it?
It's just my dad built it himself and everything, so
Gotcha.
probably not the most efficiently insulated and such.
Yeah, probably right. Yeah, I live in a big log house, so that it's surprising how well insulated it is, to be honest with you.
I had my share of like sawing logs and splitting them with a splitting maul and stuff.
Yeah.
My parents actually, when I moved out, they didn't realize how much I was doing of the wood processing, and they bought a hydraulic wood splitter
You know what's funny is when
because
you
they are so old they couldn't do that.
so my dad, when I was a kid, so we had a wood splitter, or we had a wood stove in our old house way before we even met. Um, we had a wood splitter and we were processing wood and everything like that. Relatively big house, a little ways away from here. Um, but ultimately, I didn't really like the wood splitter personally. Um, it was just wasn't nearly as fast, and you didn't move as much, so you weren't staying as warm. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it was
Yeah,
like,
I full on lumberjacked and took my shirt off when I was cutting wood in the middle of winter.
oh yeah, man. I mean, because you're getting sweaty, you're like,
Mhm.
you're staying
The
warm that
coat,
way.
yeah, the coat was on for like the first maybe like 10 minutes, and then once you get moving, it was
Hmm. Ideally, you do it
it,
all in the
it's
summertime, though, right? If you're doing it right,
yeah.
you're doing it in the summertime. But that's the trick, um, and that's why I got to start soon to get my own. But
Hmm. We a lot of the times we would get the wood and kind of get it into the bite-sized pieces, so that all you had to do is like chop it up real quick and then throw it in the sled, drag it to the house. But
oh yeah, quick splittables.
but it would have been way more efficient to have it already like ready to put in the stove. So then all you had to do is just put it in the sled. But
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I had other
Fun.
things to do as a kid, and since my dad didn't ask me to, I didn't do it.
You know what's hilarious is I remember when you were talking about moving out of your parents' house, and you were saying you were so worried about how much they don't realize they need you.
Hmm.
They did okay
And
though.
they
I mean,
replaced me with the machine.
yep, automation, baby.
Should have went on strike. Asked
Yep.
for a raise.
And then they would have bought two. That's how you do it these days. No, it's weird because I in my old house it was literally just it was a very simple house. You guys saw it. You stayed there for when you were in town.
Hmm.
Very small. It wasn't. It doesn't. It's
It's
not.
borderline tiny house,
Yeah,
in
I
my
mean
opinion.
it was a good starter house, right? But it wasn't. it wasn't. Excuse me. It was like 900 square feet. It was 2 bedroom, 2 bath. Like it wasn't impossibly small. Um, for a single guy, it worked out okay. Somebody with 3 kids though, not so much. Not so much.
Oh no. I'm feeling the pressure of the 3 kids in this house.
Are you? How many bedrooms is your place?
It's 3 bedroom, 1 bath.
Yeah, so do the boys share a room?
Mm-hmm.
One
Because
bath. That sucks.
daughter is now in the room that my wife was using as an office, and my wife moved all of her stuff down into the basement with me.
So you share an office now?
Yeah.
That's what my wife and I do as well. I spend more time in it because I work from home, but
Well, if I can get approved for work from home, I definitely will.
yeah, it took me a while. It took me a few months to do, but it's interesting because we went from a 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,000 square foot house to a 5 bedroom, 3 bath, 3,500 square foot house. So my 2 girls that are here currently, um, each have their own room. I don't know that that'll last forever when the new baby comes in September, but um, it's likely that the older girls will share a room. It's interesting because I've got 2 daughters and one on the way, and um, so I'm gonna end up having to do like this manly stuff, like chopping wood and stuff like that. Not that the girls can't, right? But there's a difference between trying to convince a teenage girl to do something and trying to convince a teenage boy to do something.
Mm-hmm. Well, the teenage boy just you tell him this is your job as a man.
Exactly.
You can't say that to a woman necessarily.
Right. I mean, if they want to go out there and swing the 8 pound ball, I'm not going to argue, but it's
I could
interesting.
see him doing it.
Uh, Given knowing their personalities, it's likely. It's likely. But no, so it's interesting because we have so they each have their own bedroom. Obviously, me and my wife have the big master bedroom that has a bathroom on it. But when the new baby comes, the older girls are probably gonna share a room, even though we have 5 bedrooms. Um, what we'll probably do is have them share a room, put the new baby in another room, because those are the rooms that are closer. Because our house is our bedroom is it's like a loft, right? But it's like a 725 square foot loft with a bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you can full stand up in it, which is weird because it's like 3/4 of the size of our old house.
Mm-hmm.
But then immediately down the stairs, there's the 2 bedrooms that the girls have, and then we have the basement that has 2 bedrooms. Excuse me. So we have, since the, man, I've got the hiccups. Since the girls are so young now, um, we don't really want them to be super far away from us. We want them to be kind of within earshot. And if we put them all the way in the basement, it's going to have a hard time hearing them.
Mm-hmm.
So we use the 1 bedroom in the basement as just a guest bedroom. We have like an air mattress. That's actually where the Minecraft server lives. It's where the server we're on right now lives, in the spare bedroom. And then we use the 5th bedroom in the basement as our shared office. So that works out pretty good. And your guys' basement doesn't count as your office, or like that doesn't count as a bedroom, right?
Mm-mm.
That's a little extra
It
bonus space.
technically, like, on paper doesn't even count towards the square footage of the house because it's not considered like a official basement.
Well, you guys have That's weird because you guys have like a weird hatch kind of thing, don't you?
Hmm. Yeah, the living room has just a hatch that you open up, like big piece of wood
It's so
that you
strange.
just lift up, and you go down very steep stairs, and then there's just this small little like family room sized spot.
So odd.
That's where we got both of our computers set up.
I'm surprised you like were able to get like desks and stuff down there.
It's like a the ship in the bottle.
Yeah. Oh, so you have to build everything, bring all the
Yeah.
pieces, parts.
Yep.
That's hilarious. I figured out that my office is kind of the same way because it's got a really weird kitty corner kind of door situation.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like it turns right and then like takes a takes a sharp turn and it's very narrow to try to get like a and I have a big elbow standing desk kind of situation.
Hmm.
So it's a little weird for sure. But so I had to disassemble my desk to bring it in here because we so when we first moved in it's kind of a funny thing. When we first moved in, my wife was all about having the office in the bedroom we now use as the spare bedroom. Um, but it has kind of like a linoleum kind of floor situation.
Hmm.
So it's it's kind of cold and doesn't have like a lot of atmosphere. But the other bedroom, on the other hand, which is the current office, has a little bit like it's like a wood floor. Um, not wood, but you know what I mean, like the vinyl or whatever. But it's a wood
Yeah.
texture,
Yeah.
and so it just has a little bit more of like a cozy office vibe, just a little bit. So we
Hmm.
set up the whole office in the one bedroom, the guest bedroom that is now. We set up the whole office in there, and then one day decided, that office isn't all that cozy. And then she asked me to move it all to its current space, which was a huge pain in the butt. Because like I said, I've got a big desk. My desk is like a big standing uh, corner desk situation, like a big L desk. Because I got to fit two computers on it.
Yeah.
So
I wish my desk was bigger. The When I got this desk, it was basically like the cheapest thing out of the computer setup that I had bought. Like even the monitors were more expensive at the time because this is what I bought when I bought that Corsair one.
mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It's like $100 desk, and then like everything else was
So
real
we
nice.
had we had a little extra money from the when we sold the old house. So we prioritized uh, getting desks and furniture and stuff like that. So we were able to kind of pimp out the desk just a little bit, or the office just a little bit. Um, yeah, so that was kind of weird. I scratched up the wall a little bit in the basement, but it is what it is.
Mhm. It's your house now.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, the lady who lived here before had like six dogs.
Oh,
She had six German shepherds. In fact, she bred them. She actually had one of the rooms was dedicated to her German shepherds. It was like a shrine, had like a big painting of one of the German shepherds.
okay. Interesting.
It was very weird. She also had a bunch of weed plants and all kinds of other stuff. Very particular, very very strange
My
situation.
my I just realized something's like my like everyday work day. I hear nothing but like kind of strange stories and things from people.
Is that right?
That's not very strange.
Yeah, I was gonna say your reaction to this is kind of normal, kind of odd.
Hmm. Like Basically, like what I do for work is I guess the most common way of saying it is like a collections person. So
Ah,
like people give me their stories for why they couldn't make payments on stuff.
so you're like Mr. Incredible,
Yeah,
who hears
except
the
for
sob
I'm not
stories.
insurance.
Well, right, right,
Yeah,
makes sense.
and I don't like um,
You're not a softie.
I'm a softie, but like I don't have to necessarily like meet like a quota of like you have to pay kind of deal. It's more of a I just need you to say that you'll pay and what time and how much.
What if they don't pay? Do you get like randy customers?
Well, someone else has to take care of those. I'm on the call center side of it, so people we already had someone that was trying to reach out to them that they were ignoring, and they finally decided after enough, like, hey, you gotta
Hmm.
to call us and be like, hey, I'm gonna.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So I'm talking to the people that are trying to like justify their actions.
That yeah, that adds up.
And so many people think that like I'm wanting to hear them like give me their life story on why they messed it up because it's definitely an embarrassing thing to
Oh,
like
sure.
not be able to pay your bills.
Nobody likes to tell the debt collector that.
But I think they don't realize that like I don't really care why they did it.
Tell me what you really think.
Like
Jeez.
you could tell me that your German Shepherd had a vet bill come up, and I'm like, okay. Or you could tell me my mom died, and like I'll show more like empathy and sympathy towards the the clearly more serious one of those,
Sure, sure.
which isn't the dogs.
Yeah, let's make that crystal clear. I'm not a dog person. I
I
feel
like
like
dogs, but like when my dog Luna dies, or like if she gets seriously injured or something, needs a vet bill, like I'm gonna be very sad
there's a
when that
limit,
happens,
you
but
know.
I'm not going to overdraft my bank account $2,000 to try and save her life when it still might not even happen.
That's super fair.
And that happens.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And I totally understand their perspective that like, well, my dog's like my family, especially for some of the older ladies. Like
Sure, sure.
they probably talk to their dog more than they've talked to like their kids
Yeah,
because the
that's
kids have
true.
moved out and are starting their own families.
Well, there's a level of it that's like I don't know, it's a slippery slope, right? Because like no matter what you do or say, a dog's not gonna be a person. Like and I hate to be that guy, right?
Hmm.
But it's like
Well, I have to be that guy at
I
my
know you
work.
do. I know you do. It's just yeah, it's a
And most
challenge.
people would agree.
Yeah, for sure. It's it's a slippery slope, right? Because it's most people would probably agree on one hand, but on the other hand, it's like you've got those couple people that are like real odd, you know?
Hmm. Definitely.
I just have the one cat. I've had my cat for 6 or 8 years now. He's gonna be an old gizzard.
I definitely liked cats more back in the day until I had an inside cat. And
Yeah.
the inside cat, maybe I just wasn't meeting the inside cat's need, but it was irritating the living bejeebus out of me.
Well, so due to the
I
nature of
couldn't handle it anymore.
due to the nature of the place that I live in, um, my cat is an indoor cat for 8 months out of the year, and then he's an outdoor cat for 4 months or so. Because you can't, I mean, you can't go outside at like -40, right? Just not gonna
Mm-hmm.
happen.
You can, just not very long.
Right. He doesn't. I mean, he's a pansy. He's not gonna be very long. Although he did escape when we were in the middle of our move, and then he came back like 2 months later. One of the neighbor ladies found him.
During the summer.
Yeah, we were living in my parents' camper, and we were living in my parents' camper, and he escaped the camper, and one of their neighbors found him, and they trapped him, or I set a trap on their property and got him back. So it was kind
Mhm.
of interesting because he survived like 2 months in the wilderness by himself. You want to talk about like a hardcore critter?
Animals are pretty self-sustainable.
Well, he was a lean, mean killing machine too. Like he was when he came back, he was clearly not starving, and it was 2 months since he had like kitty chow or something.
Hmm.
I mean, he
So he
wasn't
was
like,
finding things to eat.
oh yeah, like he was. Not only was he finding stuff to eat, but he was like, was kind of thriving, which is like a little scary.
Because the kibble is not it's processed food. It's what we were talking about.
Yeah, it's exactly it. So I mean, he was like jacked, man. But we got him back. He's back on cheap cat food, and he's fat and happy again.
Meow mix.
Yep. He's got an interesting story to him in general, because basically my tattoo artist was like, "Hey man, I'm going to prison for 5 years. Can you take my cat?" I was like, "Sure, dude." And then I think he got out, and he got
Never
out of
asked for him
prison.
back.
Never asked for him back. Never. I think he skipped town, honestly.
Hmm.
But then that was like 6 or 8 years ago now, so can't really
Your what was your cat's name again?
Spike,
Smokey?
Spike,
Spike.
Spike, Spike.
Oh yeah, because off of Buffy, right?
Well, yeah, but I call him Spike'll now.
Spike'll.
Yeah, that's like
Uncle Pinkle.
Spichael, like Spike Mike. You know,
Spike'll Princess.
that's right. That is correct. So yeah. Anyway, he's kind of crazy. I've the kind of running joke in the family is that the only thing that can actually kill Spike is a an eagle has to come and swoop him up.
All America style.
Yeah, he's so hardcore at this point that it's kind of silly to assume he would have any trouble with just about anything. Know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's eating healthy, doing good now. The girls are happy to have him back, so that's good. I tell you what, though, it's nice to have. It is nice to have a computer set up again, because I did not at the old house. I didn't have the space for one. I didn't have a laptop, so I was on my old gaming rig, and then I bought this laptop, so now I'm a lot more mobile because I was kind of prepping to not have or existing without space, So I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
not be caught with my pants down again like that. Um,
Yeah.
but by and large, yeah, it's been nice to be able to game again. Although it is tricky to balance these days with the change in lifestyle for sure. Especially with, I mean, because when I was real, I mean, when we were younger, we were pulling 20-hour days. Like we were
Yeah, we were making YouTube like more than a full-time job basically.
Not only was it more, I
Multiple
mean, it was
jobs.
like, I mean, we were making pennies, pennies.
hmm
But it's weird. I
I
mean, it's
I
good.
I actually went back and watched some of my old YouTube videos not too long ago, and I just kind of stumbled across my like weekly update that I would do every Sunday.
Oh, I remember that.
And like I was going over, it's like video every single day. This
Bro,
is this day, this is this day, this is this day, this is this day.
in my
Like, oh my gosh, how did I do that?
in my peak days, I was pumping out 3 videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 videos on Tuesday, Thursday. So I was cranking out 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 videos a day, and then maybe a bonus video on the weekends. Or a week. Yeah.
hmm
Crazy. That is insane.
Yeah,
Well, and then, I mean, to some degree, that's just not a scalable model, right? It's just not.
it is if you're focusing on quantity over quality.
Well,
Like
even if you do, I mean, but
playing
what I'm saying,
split function with like my wife. Like we recorded a ton of episodes. I could pump all those episodes out like every other day and like just record a new batch on the next Saturday, but then
you
what do
got
I
to give
do
people time to
when that's
watch them.
over? Yeah, people need time to watch them too. That's the thing too.
That's the, I mean, so, I mean, my new philosophy coming into it, once I rebooted the channel, was really, I'm going to do a weekly upload. I'm going to do some streams here and there. I did some shorts to kick it off, but I don't love doing shorts in general because it feels like cheap content to me. Like I don't know. I feel like shorts for me were very much gaming the system, which they're not because it's still content you're producing, right? But
hmm
I feel like you have to do the cheaty thing to succeed in shorts. Like it's all clickbait.
Don't check the sound.
Don't check the sound, don't, what it feels like, what it looks like a few moments later, it for me it feels cheap, right? It's the stuff that I watch
I'd
it, but I
still count
hate that I
it
watch it.
as like the Taco Bell of like YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Like it's real cheap, easy content that you can make a whole bunch of, especially if you're just clipping stuff you've already like put effort into.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess so, but it's still, I don't know. I have a hard time with it because it's like it doesn't feel like the stuff I want to do, you know? Like that's the problem I have with it. Like at the end of the day, I would rather put more effort into the content that's more long form, that's a little bit more artistic. Like my hardcore series is a lot more artistically pleasing and aesthetically pleasing than anything I cranked out back in the day.
hmm
Like I feel like my hardcore series, I kind of wanted it to be like to some degree like my love letter to Minecraft, right?
hmm
Because it's very much like this needed to be like my in my mind this was like my quintessential Minecraft series. Like if somebody went to my channel and said, "Oh, you play Minecraft? What videos do you recommend?" I wasn't gonna point them to Oak and Stone. I wouldn't point them to Oatman Solo Survival. Um, Primarily because like to some degree with a server, right? It doesn't really do anybody any good unless you know the people they're playing with, right? So you're relying on your buddies to kind of carry you and carry your conversation. Yeah, and this is the
hmm
problem when I see small YouTubers jumping onto a server right away, right? is because it's not actually commentary. It's just playing with your homies.
Mm-hmm.
Which there's a time and place for that, right? Like I think there's people like you and me who have years and years of chemistry and stuff like that who might be interesting to watch something like that, but it'd have to be the right format in order for it to work, right?
I've noticed that a little bit, like on Hermitcraft, like when, like I've seen B00 playing with
Mm-hmm.
some like a smaller YouTuber that's on that on Hermitcraft,
Mm-hmm.
and their interactions just feel really awkward, despite like whatever he's trying to do,
Yeah,
like how
exactly.
friendly he's trying to be or whatever.
No, that's exactly it. Like it, and I think that takes a lot of the genuinity out of it. And I think to some degree, because you and I both can do solo commentary, for example, makes it a little bit more easy uh, to carry something together, which most of the time when you have a small YouTuber, that's not the case. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you typically have two inexperienced people, which was us once upon a time. Like don't mishear what I'm saying, right? This was
Took
definitely
time.
huh?
Definitely took time.
Yeah, for sure, right? Um, but that's my whole thing is like it so I think it would be doing a disservice to the game of Minecraft in general to be to have like the quintessential series be a SMP.
Mm-hmm.
Primarily, well, primarily because it's just I a lot of times, like I said, you're harboring off of other people's creativity to some extent, and nobody really like if I wanted to watch somebody play with their homies, I would play with my homies.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
now, there's a different like when you look into like the bigger YouTubers like B00 or something like that. There's a difference there that they have, I would say, that prevents them from falling into the kind of a similar trap. Because when he's playing, right, when you watch him play Minecraft, he's not just playing with his homies. He's making, I mean, his style is very interesting because he's making a narrative. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he is building a story and a world and lore around him, and it's like semi role play, but not quite. It's like a soft role play. He makes everybody interact with his shenanigans, right? And that's an interesting character study to some degree. And if you're talking about the quintessential like best representative of the game of Minecraft in a YouTube channel, I would point you towards B00 in general. Take any YouTuber, and I would tell you
You sure it's not
B
PewDiePie?
no, no. Well, that's a PewDiePie was interesting to watch when he first started his Minecraft channel again, right?
The
Pretty
way I
soon.
would describe his series, because I found it entertaining, but I wouldn't call it like it quintessential is nowhere near accurate. What I would describe PewDiePie as is like the average gamer's
Oh, for sure, for sure.
experience in
So
Minecraft.
when I say B00 is the quintessential, right? The kind of the magnum opus of Minecraft YouTubers is because I think he encapsulates the actual true spirit of the game of Minecraft. You know, like the utter creativity in the world building around you, um, that results in a very specific kind of play style. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And not a play style that's limiting by any means, but a play style that's like he has a way of kind of attracting people to him and making people kind of not necessarily bend to his will, but play around
Like kind
him.
of, yeah.
You
They
know,
they go with it, go with the flow, kind of. I got a
Right.
potato.
Well, in one day it'll be freaking he'll be a freaking judge, and then the next day he'll be a cowboy, or and it's like whatever it happens to be that day, right? It's
Hmm.
what, and I think that's kind of the whole point of Minecraft is it can be whatever you want it to be, but it never really stops being him either.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing that I see with like the game of Minecraft in general is it has to encapsulate the person and the creativity of that person. So when I looked at starting my channel back and doing Minecraft hardcore, um, my whole thought process was number one, I wanted it to be high quality, right? Not these like whip out, knockout videos every super quick, kind of situation. I wanted it to
I
be
have
like
one on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
right, which I think we had a lot of good content as a result because it was a shotgun approach. We had a lot of bad content too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I definitely had favorite episodes.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, there was episodes I did because I had to do them, you know. But my my take on doing the Minecraft Hardcore series is this is a game I've been playing for 15 years, right? This is a game that every single time I had one of my kids was born, when I was on my paternity hiatus from work or whatever, I would start up a Minecraft world and I would just binge it. So this
Hmm.
is game. This game has been a substantial part of my life for a very long period of time. So I wanted to do a series that kind of did that justice. So
Hmm.
I added serene seasons, which I always wanted seasons in Minecraft. I added obviously the shaders, the distant horizons, nothing of which really changes the vanilla playstyle per se, but it makes it so that you're in the game. You're kind of forced to be in the game because of how immersive it is, right?
Hmm.
And I wanted it to be kind of again like this. It starts off with just being you, the character, right, as the person who's in the game, and then it slowly kind of evolves uh, to be what you call it. It's
Its own
slowly
world
the world, right? So
narrative.
yeah, the world, the narrative around you, right? So we've got in the series now, we've got the village that's been defeated in a battle. We've rebuilt it. I won't spoil it, but um, those kind of things, right? Where now there might be, I might be looked at as like a king kind of character in that world or something like that. And this is a single player world that doesn't rely whatsoever on other people playing along, you know?
Hmm.
Um, so that's kind of where, if I didn't have, basically my whole point is if I was going to be a Minecraft YouTuber, if I could point them to one series and say, this is me playing Minecraft like wholeheartedly with everything that I have, like pouring my heart and soul into it. This is what that looks like. You know what I mean? So that's kind of
Yeah.
where I started from with that series idea. And I don't really care. I mean, I don't really care if I get a bazillion views. I don't care if I get 0 views. I wanted to do it because I did a channel for 6 years in a row straight, and I didn't have a series wholeheartedly, besides other games like Battle Block Theater was phenomenal, right? But
Hmm.
but I didn't have a Minecraft series that I could point to and say this is something that I did my absolute best on, you know?
Yeah. Like this one I met quota,
Right.
but it wasn't necessarily my best. Yeah.
Right.
I could see that.
So that's where I think that's where I really actually genuinely wanted to. I didn't feel, and that's kind of what stimulated the whole point of restarting the channel to begin with for me. Um, because I was like, I have all these videos, and it's like, if I wanted to show my kids, for example, like my Minecraft videos, like all of them are fun, all of them are. I mean, I'm sure they're all enjoyable, right? But to a kid, but none of them were ones that I could say like like there was again, there's episodes out there that I think you could be proud of, but not wholeheartedly as a series.
Yeah, I could see that. I think those are the ones that have kind of drawn my kids' attention, because like whenever, like I told you that I was looking through my channel content from the past, and like my kids were also there while I was doing that, so they were watching these videos that I had uploaded years ago, and they were basically giving me feedback on them. It's like, that's really funny, like you guys are having a good time.
Mhm.
They're in the moment I didn't fully understand. I was just like, yeah, I'm just looking through my content, feeling all nostalgic for myself.
Mhm.
And my kids were giving me feedback on like what was good about the series, what they were enjoying about it, and
What part of it was actually worth the watch?
yeah.
I could see that. Yeah, I think it's interesting because I don't know how this freaking algorithm is working whatsoever, to be honest with you. I I have a ton of theories as like how the strategy works and how YouTube processes things, how the algorithm works, but it seems to change. And I started with shorts to grow it, and that seemed to work, but then it halted when I stopped doing shorts, but I don't really care that much because my goal was to get over the monetization limit so that I could actually monetize, and if I'm pretty comfortably above that, so I don't really care there. So now I'm trying to build watch hours. So when I found out that they did not count the watch hours towards um
I was looking on the monetization tab in YouTube Studio,
yeah,
and the shorts do count, but they're in their own separate what's the word, like profile. Like
towards the
you can't,
monetization.
like, yeah, you can monetize your channel just off of shorts, but you have to have like I think it said like multi-million dollars of,
Oh,
or not
so
million dollars.
you can
Millions of
do it.
views, watch hours aren't as big of a thing.
So you can do it, and that kind of points it towards because my channel ultimately. So this is where I had to have the conversation with myself, right? My channel was
Mm-hmm.
ultimately it was a do or die situation where it's like, is it going to be a channel that focuses on long form content, or is it going to be a channel that focuses on short form content? Um, and because I wanted to do the stuff that I dumped my heart and soul, and that's kind of that whole long-winded story about my hardcore series loops back into the shorts I was producing were funny, but I wasn't necessarily proud of them, right? So it defeated the purpose for me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of where the rubber met the road. Is I wanted to focus on watch hours, which is kind of the last piece of the puzzle for getting monetized on YouTube, for me at least.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I didn't really want to dump that energy on producing shorts.
Yeah.
So my
I think I have a different view on shorts than you.
yeah,
'Cause, like for me, shorts aren't just like necessarily getting like views or like advertising my channel. I get a lot of like comedy out of them, and I really enjoy that aspect of it, is the comedy. Like I like making people laugh, getting the likes on it, just some passerby, like a street performer, for example. Like someone might not necessarily be all that interested in my content, but them walking by, scrolling by, see my short, makes them smile, leaves a like, and they move on with their day.
Yeah, I think I have uh, far too. My mind works in a very what you call it, ambitious way. I don't like ambitious might be the wrong word, but I'm an Empire guy, right? So I'm not trying to think how to word it. I don't really care if somebody smiles or doesn't smile at my content. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, right? But
Mm-hmm.
my kind of worldview on things is I don't necessarily if somebody cares if somebody enjoys something I say or do or a joke I tell or something like that. I don't necessarily care if people like me per se. My whole thing is the grand like I think on a macro scale, I guess, right? So my whole everything, even in life, right? I think of things in a very very large picture. What's it going to look like at the very end? Like what's the outcome, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the stuff that I get stuck on. So I'm going to take a little bit of a rabbit trail, right? And say it in this way, right? So talk about well, let me ask you this. What is your Hogwarts house?
Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw. So that adds up. That adds up. What would you assume mine is?
Gryffindor.
Right. Right. So I'm a pretty hardcore Gryffindor, right? However, on almost every test I would take that would get me there, um, what do you think my number two would be?
Slytherin.
Right. Exactly. What's your number two out of curiosity?
I'm not sure. I believe it's Gryffindor.
That would make sense. I could see that. So right. So my worldview on a personality on a super nerdy personality test level is very um, bold and courageous, but incredibly ambitious and power hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's the setup to why I can't do shorts. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's very very much for me a if my end goal is just making a passerby smile, I don't feel like that's a big enough goal, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Not that, like I said, not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just
Yeah, definitely.
not conducive to my way of thinking.
It's not on the. Yeah, I don't.
It's not
I get
satisfying
what
to
you're
me at
getting
all.
at, but I'm not sure how to word it either. Like it totally makes sense. It's like it's
Yeah.
not a part of the mission. Like there's a mission happening that him smiling doesn't add to the mission, so it it's kind of irrelevant data,
Right.
basically.
Exactly. That's exactly it. That is exactly it. Now I did the shorts. I milked them a little bit to get me where I'm at. But
I think they were good, like in showing everybody like, hey, I'm active on YouTube again.
no, exactly. And I think I used them as functionally trailers for my content was my philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted to bring people towards the long form content so I could go back to telling the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think
I think
I've got enough of an audience now that I can consistently get it's not a large number, but it's a number where I can sleep at night knowing that I'm not doing it to the wind.
mm-hmm.
You know. So that's my whole thing.
I feel that like I could do with a little bit more focus on my content because like I initially started doing it again as like basically like here's my therapy talk, just me having a spot where I can talk completely uninterrupted and have
Hmm.
some fun playing a game. And then I changed it to like, well, would like I basically started pursuing what I was pursuing when um, I was still living with my parents.
Hmm.
Like this would be a great if I could get it as a job because
Hmm.
I want to work from home.
Absolutely. I mean, I already work from home. I would love to play Minecraft for a living. That's where I'm at.
Mhm.
But anyway, you were saying.
And I just keep like I don't know if like I keep moving the goalpost for myself because like I'm looking at games the same way that I used to look at games where like, oh, I could make content out of this. It's like, well, no,
Hmm.
you that's not your that's not what you were trying to do. It's like, what are you trying to do? It's like, well, originally I said this, but like I'm doing things that are not exactly adding up with that.
So I think the ultimate balance that you gotta come to is what number one, it has to be something you want to do first and foremost. But number
Mm,
two, and this is almost equally important, is it something somebody's gonna be willing to watch? Right? So
yes.
I can go and pick up a any game, right? And I could pick up Roblox, right? We'll use Roblox as an example and say I'm gonna do a Roblox series. Um, but nobody really super watches Roblox. Maybe they do, and I'm completely naive to it. But
I've never played Roblox.
uh,
I only know what it is because of memes.
right, no, exactly, same. So, but whatever, it doesn't necessarily have to be Roblox.
Hmm.
Or if I decided I'm gonna pick up No Man's Sky and I'm gonna play it, right?
Hmm.
Definitely a game I want to play. 100% a game I want to play. Or Starfield. I played the heck out of Starfield. But
Hmm.
now that game is 2 years old. Um,
It's
generally,
irrelevant.
it's irrelevant, right? So it's like nobody's looking up content for Starfield um, unless they are looking for me specifically to play Starfield,
Hmm.
right? So, first of all, the problem with if I started a Starfield series today would be the immediate thing that would have to be in place would be somebody would have to be there because they want to watch me play it. So they have to come for me. Right. So
Hmm.
today, in today's day and age, there's still a world for Minecraft content, which I don't know why, I don't know how, it just still exists. Um, there's a world where out there and that I think we accidentally rolled the dice and got onto a bit of a resurgence of Minecraft as well, um,
Hmm.
randomly. But the problem is I absolutely would want to do a Starfield series, but are people actually going to watch it? And I think when I when I think about it from a foresight perspective, is it going to be mentally valuable for me, for my mental health, to basically prioritize and put effort and love into that series and have two people watch it? And one of them is probably me,
Hmm.
you know? So when I look at it, I'm like, well, so I put all this effort, I put all this love into this series. I really enjoy this game, but nobody cares,
Hmm.
right? So then I start the spiral, right? I start well, maybe I'm, you know, maybe because I did it, right? I did that. I learned that from our original YouTube days. Is if I start doing stuff that nobody really wants to see, but I want to do, um, then it's going to bring me down. I'm putting all this effort and energy into something. I put out 1,000 videos, 1,100
over
videos over the course
yeah.
of my time, right? I gained 300
Mhm.
subscribers in 6 years. You know, my
Mhm.
average channel views were on any video at best 10 views per video. So it's demoralizing because I was pouring my heart and soul into that stuff. So ultimately, that's when I look at it, I think of my own mental health and say, look, this is what I have the capacity to do. This is what people want to see. Um, it's like Assassin's Creed Shadows, right? I have played the heck out of that. I'll probably stream it here and there, but I'm not going to do a start to finish stream. I'm not going to say I'm going to play it um, only on camera because it's a game I genuinely enjoyed. There might be a market for it because it's a new game, right? Um,
Mhm.
but I can't enjoy it and constantly be having to stream it too, you know? So if I am playing it and happen to be in a position where I can stream, I'll absolutely stream it. But they're not going to get the full story walkthrough from me, you know? So that way,
Mhm.
and that's kind of what I'm building my streams around is if you're coming from me, from my personality, you can watch my streams. And I can earn your respect and trust and love and your dollar and your view through the Minecraft series. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's my take anyway. Because then I can put
Yeah.
all the effort I was putting into those 13 videos a week into one video a week. You know, because realistically, it takes me about a week to process my Minecraft videos.
Yeah.
And I actually actively have a journal of like ideas and things and like what I'm gonna name the next episode, what it's gonna be centered around, like you know what I mean? Which is very,
Yeah.
very, very different than how I processed them before.
I feel like how I'm kind of processing things now is similar to what I was doing then. It's like hop on, record it, do the mild editing, record like add a little music in certain spots, whatever.
Hmm.
Because I'm not necessarily going for like the artistic
Yeah,
approach
yeah.
that you're taking. Like mine's really I'm the let's play itself is trying to capture the essence of like playing Minecraft again
Hmm. Yours has
after
a
a year
yours has a
away.
different vibe for sure. Like yours has a very nostalgic point of view. Whereas I think I don't capture as much nostalgia as much as I capture the um like you said, kind of the beauty and the concept, like what you could do with Minecraft. And I think yours captures more of like what you're likely to do with Minecraft.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Both are good approaches, obviously, but um, it's interesting because I really, really enjoy your series, and it reminds me of the original generic B single player. Is the best thing I can compare it to, where it's a little just quirky and goofy. It's unapologetically with a really aggressive texture pack. Um, it 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 captures both nothing and everything at the same time, like the episodes. Like when I watch an episode of your, and don't take this the wrong way because I genuinely do mean it as a compliment. When I watch an episode of your Minecraft videos, I often am like at the end of the episode, I'm like, what exactly was done in this episode? Like, was there actually anything that happened? But that's a good thing, right? Because that's realistically, if I pick up and play Minecraft as anybody who's going to play Minecraft, um, that's what I'm going to do, right? I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to build a super fancy greenhouse or a super epic tree house or play with shader. I mean, I might play with shaders, right? But
Hmm.
I'm not going to world build and I'm not going to come up with lore for the. I might do all those things, but what's likely to happen is I'm going to wander around. I'm going to go stumble into a cave. I'm going to go explore the world around me. I'm going to build a little house, and it's not going to be the most like gorgeous, amazing house you've ever seen. It's going to be the house that you built and that it fits with the kind of the terrain you're in, and it captures
Hmm.
kind of like that innocence of Minecraft that I think a lot of people don't capture much anymore.
Yeah, and I'm noticing like even in my my building style, like I, I'm going for exactly what you were describing, just kind of going around playing. But then like I'm trying to build like I think I'm a professional builder when like we both know I'm not.
Right, right.
So like I'm noticing that in my builds and like no, I need to just make Minecrafty builds.
Yeah, it's like
That's something I realized in my last episode too. I was just like, what am I doing with this?
yeah.
Like I'm not happy with my house, and the reason I'm not happy with it is because I'm not skilled enough to do what I'm thinking I can.
Well, right. Well, I mean, you've never been an amazing builder. You're a great builder underground for sure,
Hmm.
but I think so. I think what really captures the nostalgia of it, to be honest with you, is think about the random like 12-year-old boy that you run into today, and he's got his Switch or his phone or whatever or his Xbox, and he shows you his Minecraft world. And what's he got going on in that? You know, he's got these ugly places, horrible
Hmm.
buildings, horrible. You know, and he's got dogs everywhere. He's got rocket launchers. He's got for what? For like what's the point, right? He's got a house that's built out of diamonds, right? Just for poops and giggles.
Hmm.
And in his mind it makes perfect sense because he's lived in that world, in the Minecraft world, for like whatever, however much time he's put into it. He's
Hmm.
got a
His reason is that he decided to, basically. Like
right,
he doesn't have an external reason. I decided to do this is why.
exactly. And that I think is like the true like I think there's the YouTuber perspective of Minecraft, which is like the why I like you talk about B00. Like none of us are ever gonna build like B00, right? But I think he captures like the peak of what Minecraft could be when it comes to storytelling, building, um, the world building, the lore, the so on and so forth. But then on the flip side of that, there's the people who actually play Minecraft, especially single player, and it's not that, right? Now I'm a relatively good builder, right? I've practiced a lot on building and stuff like that. But the point of my series is to be more of that, what Minecraft could be and not what Minecraft is. And I
Hmm.
think I think your series is a lot more focused on what Minecraft is, and that is honestly why I really enjoy your series
Okay.
because it has like first world vibes. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And that's the I think that's the essence of what I get out of watching your series. You
What
know.
Minecraft is.
Yep. And I think about it because I do I I I help lead a youth group on Wednesday nights. So, and it's a bunch of like junior high kids. So a lot of teenage boys and stuff like that that just absolutely love the fact that I'm a Minecraft YouTuber, right?
Mhm.
And they're constantly talking to me about Minecraft. And they'll bring their Switch or something and be like, "This is my Minecraft world." So I think very often about what Minecraft actually is to these kids, you know? So
Mhm.
my take on it is I'm gonna be the guy that these kids can go and watch and be like, "Oh, this is an elevated version of what I would do."
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So it's like a greenhouse. Everybody's gonna build a greenhouse. I built one that looks kind of fancy or like kind of is a little bit more like there's a reason behind it. It's hardcore, right? So it's like, it's whereas I think you're obviously a lot more. You've been playing the game a lot longer than a lot of these kids have. But it captures your world and stuff captures a lot more of the essence of and the vibe I think of your series captures a lot more of the essence of hey, check out my cool Minecraft world.
Mhm. And it's just in the early stages still. It hasn't quite developed the
Right.
cool stuff,
Well, and I
the
think
memories.
you could obviously get there, right? And
Mhm.
but I think you got to understand the direction you're going first.
Yeah, because I'm going for the forever world thing.
Which is nice because it lets you
I
have a slow pace.
yeah, I I'd say like the biggest thing that probably holds me back is the lack of direction,
Mm-hmm.
and then um, not committing to anything because I don't have a direction.
Yeah.
It's like I'm just kind of like going around in a circle at the moment. It's like what I know what I'm doing every episode, but I don't know what I'm going to be doing the next episode to the one that I'm doing currently.
See, that's where I think at least the way I deal with it is every time I have an idea for Minecraft, especially my world, I write it down. And I have basically the next probably 10 or 12 episode concepts written down. Just because like every time I get an idea for something that I'm gonna or that I think I might want to do, I write it down. Now my
Hmm.
series is a little bit different because it's hardcore, and I've actually got things that like I'm gonna take on a trial chamber. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Um,
Hmm.
I actually have measurable metrics in my world that are gonna um, get me to a place, right? But I don't think you necessarily need that per se to say uh, I'm gonna build a dope barn for my cows,
Hmm. And
or
that's basically what my stuff that I have written down on paper are is like I need to build a barn, I need to build a ranch, I need to build a farm, I need to get diamonds. Like that
mm-hmm.
the get diamonds thing's been on my roster for a while. I just every time I go down into the dark, I get distracted by something else.
Yeah. I think one thing that you can think about too is like um, if I were you, a good place or a good source of like inspiration for me is when in doubt, map your world, right?
Map the world
Yeah, so like
like with
take
a
your
world map.
yeah, so like take your like maps and you know how when you take did you know that if you take banners and name them and then place them in a place, it will show up on your map with a name and label on it? Yeah,
Yeah, I
on the
knew about
map.
that.
So I do
Hmm.
that and that's kind of why in my series I was asking for names of locations and landmarks and things like that because one of my upcoming episodes is going to be mapping my world because then I have built-in lore to some extent, right?
Hmm.
At least some direction, right? So it's like I have Phoenix Landing, I've got Wayfarer's Rest, I've got Titan's Tooth, I've got um I've got all these places that I can go and do and interact with, and they have a role in the world that's different than just breeding cows, picking my garden. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Definitely.
And I did that. I did. Honestly, it's interesting because I think a lot of the real true secret, you heard it here first, of my hardcore series is it's actually a sequel. It is actually a sequel to I played when my second daughter was born, and I took several weeks off of paternity leave. I booted up a Minecraft world, and it was the first and only time I've ever beaten the game start to finish with the focus of playing Minecraft. Just not building buildings, not necessarily building or building fanciest things or like doing anything. I wanted to do the things Minecraft had to offer, right? Which is sounds familiar, right? So this wasn't recorded or anything. It was just I popped open a world. I started hardcore. I just wanted to see if I could just beat a hardcore world. I wanted to beat the Ender Dragon. I wanted to beat a Wither. I wanted, you know what I mean,
Hmm.
and do the checklist, right? With no, and once I did that, then I would be done, and I would put down Minecraft again for a couple months. Was the theory. So what I did was, and this was just sitting on my computer. I've just had my desktop set up in my little house there for a while, and I wanted something that I could pause. So it was a single player world because I had a new baby. Um, so what I did was I didn't build a ton of stuff. I built like a little fort. I built a little shack for I could breed villagers. I built a couple odds and ends that keep me surviving and kind of living a good life and stuff like that. Um, and then, so I eventually built it up. I had a good skelly grind. I had a really cool. By the end of it, I just had this awesome world that the whole point of it was just to play Minecraft and enjoy it. Nobody was watching. Nobody cared. Like this was just for me, right?
Hmm.
And I did. I named one of the villages after my newborn daughter, and I named another village after my oldest daughter. And I mapped it out, and it was just again, this was literally just me quietly playing Minecraft um, to myself. So
Yeah.
I named it. I put the little banners up. I did the whole scouting thing. I had all these little things that were just this cool, made for just an awesome Minecraft world, right? And it wasn't because I was showing anything to anybody or doing anything for anybody. It was just because I was playing Minecraft. And that was probably the most fun I've ever had playing Minecraft by myself ever. Um, Including during YouTube days. Now, I say by myself because I think we had a lot more fun times doing a lot of other stuff that we did in the past, right? But
Hmm.
um, so what's interesting about that world is I did every single one of the challenges. I did the Woodland Mansion. I did everything else, and then I got to the Deep Dark and got like two shot by a warden. I killed the Wither. I killed the dragon. I had my elytra. I had everything. I had full netherite gear. I had like the whole kit and caboodle. Um, Full endgame Minecraft. It was gravy train. I was just enjoying it. So I went to the Deep Dark. I finally found the Deep Dark. I went to take it on, and this is when the Deep Dark was new, so that was that update.
Yeah.
Went there. I got like insta two shot. This was a hardcore world. Got insta two shot by the warden, and all of it went away. So I couldn't live with myself doing that. So I basically turned on cheats, rebuilt the world, turned off hardcore mode in the NBT data because I could not bear it. And then I I just played it as a single player for a little while, and then actually, so after I died in that world, I was going to play it as a single player world for a while. Interestingly enough, like just in survival, but I could never pick it up again. I did not feel it never had the same vibe again after I got smoked by the warden and then cheated my way back to life.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like it was the stakes of never having died. It was the stakes of building everything around, and that world's still like I could pull it up again. I have it floating around somewhere. Um, so that to some extent is what I wanted to capture in my series. Because what I did was ever since then I tried to recapture that. Just have a single player Minecraft hardcore series, right? That's where I tinkered with Serene Seasons and Distant Horizons and so on and so forth. And I just could not get it to I could not get it to the same level. Like I would die or I would get to the nether and get killed by a blaze or I would get it just whatever, right? So I burned through probably it had to be like 500 hardcore worlds. Some that I would just start to fall in love with and then I would have to smoke them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oddly enough, you know my play style in video games. Very aggressive, very tanky. Um,
Mm-hmm.
not typically conducive to hardcore Minecraft. Um, that to say though, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try this on YouTube. And by God, this is the longest hardcore world I've had that's lasted this long since.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, now you know. Now you know that that's actually a sequel. It's a spiritual successor to my quiet single player Minecraft world that nobody knows about.
Interesting.
No.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, honestly, the pacing, I think what the YouTube thing does is it forces pacing, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because I have goals, I have things that I meet, which I did in the original as well. Um, but uh, but I'm not trying to do it all in like 2 or 3 hours, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it in over the course of one episode a week, and I don't play much outside. I mean, I do to set up for an episode or something like that, but I don't play much outside of that. And I think that keeps it so that it's actually enjoyable and worth the stakes.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I don't know. That's why it's exciting to me.
I'd agree.
Tell you what, though, it is hard to find time to play, though, with our current schedules. My current schedule, at least.
Yeah. I just I don't feel comfortable playing it while my kids are awake
Mm-hmm.
because it's I don't want to get frustrated with them over something so silly.
Yeah. So it's interesting because I have maybe a unique perspective on that because my kids, I work from home and I'm kind of a stay-at-home parent 4 days a week with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
So they're used to me sitting in front of a computer for the most part, most of the day.
Yeah, versus like I'm away from home 5 days out of the week
Yeah.
for a
When I
majority of their waking hours.
and I'm still, I'm still making them breakfast and lunch and stuff like that. So I mean, to
I
some
make
extent,
breakfast, sometimes
there's
dinner.
precedent, you know.
Mm-hmm. And they want to spend time with me while they have me.
Oh, for sure, for
And
sure.
I want to spend time with them while
It's It's hard, especially because my kids aren't really gamer age.
I'm getting Ellie going. Slow, but she's going.
Yeah, Alice plays Mario Kart, but she plays what's the one like Mario game where you turn into an elephant?
I think that was Wonder.
Yeah, she plays that one a little. I'm trying to get her into Minecraft Pocket Edition on my tablet, but she doesn't quite get it yet.
I bought a physical copy of Bedrock for Xbox just so that Ellie could learn it,
Yeah.
and she's trying. She's definitely trying.
Yeah, she's getting there. It's definitely especially I mean, I live out in the middle of the woods. I live like 30 minutes from town. Really, I have like no neighbors either. Um so it's I have a lot of stuff to do around the house and like I have a lot of stuff to repair and fix and I have to I have to I still have to like haul my own fuel and haul my own wood and stuff like that. So it's tricky balancing some of the stuff like you got to do as a dad on top of having hobbies like gaming and YouTube and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Because I'd consider YouTube to be like separate from gaming necessarily. Like
Oh yeah, for sure.
it's not the same hobby, even though you're doing the same activity. They're very different beasts. Like
Oh,
one is entertainment, one is like self-entertaining. Like you're not always entertaining yourself when you're
uh,
playing a game.
oh for sure. Yeah, it's like that, and that's kind of why I don't play a lot of Assassin's Creed Shadows on my channel. I probably will stream it eventually, but it's because there's a degree of separation there.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed's kind of interesting to me because like it seems like this latest entry isn't the best in the series
I don't
from
know.
what
I've
I've
heard I've
heard.
heard and experienced kind of the opposite. Not that it's the best, but like it's the it's certainly among the better of the latest um kind of more RPG focused ones for sure.
Mm,
And a lot of the ratings and stuff like that are 4.5 out of 5, like 9 out of 10.
okay.
It is very good in this one in particular. Now, like Mirage was meh. Um, Valhalla was good, but I wouldn't say like I really enjoyed it because I like that era, but I wouldn't say it was an amazing game per se.
Hmm.
Shadows, I would say, is a very, very good game. Like independently of the series, it is a good game.
Okay. So I feel like I've gotten my gaming news recently skewed because of, like my limited time to like look up stuff because like we go back to when I was doing YouTube full time that like I was always looking at gaming news and reading articles and sifting over stuff, watching other people's let's play videos or first looks and stuff. I don't look at nearly that much stuff now.
Oh, same. Yeah, I get most of my news from like I honestly the my opinion on things typically comes from like, oh, that looks like a dope game, I'm gonna play it. You know?
Yeah. And mine I feel like some games like I don't even know they exist until like Repo.
Yeah.
That was the suggestion from my wife. She's like, I think you guys would like this. I was like, maybe. Looked up some videos on it. And it's like, this looks like it's something me and Oat would tear up.
That is a fun game. That is one that you can get sucked into for sure.
Like I'm half tempted to like try and record it solo, but I just don't think I think a lot of the charm to it requires other people.
I think I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could see a solo version of it being fun for sure, but that could certainly be I don't know. I don't know. I think it could be done well in theory.
I think definitely in theory, but it would require some like heavy editing because there's times where you need to be quiet, and that's like the last thing you want to do when you're trying to entertain is be quiet.
For sure.
Silence tends to mean like, okay, I'm gonna click on something else.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how media has shifted, and that's part of the reason why like shorts and stuff have become the way they have.
There's certainly a lot more focus on well, it's interesting because right now the meta is long form content. Like it went from short form content, but it is long form content now that's popularized. Oddly enough, people are really into podcasts and stuff like that nowadays.
Mm.
At least based on what I can tell, right?
Mhm.
There seems to be a shift on a larger
And
scale, you know.
from what I've seen, it's not like the if you want like people to pay attention to your content, like you generally gotta you can make the long form stuff, but you gotta like snip it up into shorts to even give people the inkling to want to click on it.
So it's
I've
in
even seen people doing shorts of podcasts and stuff just to try and get traffic to there.
oh for sure. So interestingly enough, that was kind of the when I say a long form is the meta, I mean it's shifting to be the meta. Um, currently, currently, I don't know. I don't know that I would be 100% convinced that short form would be the do or die right now. I mean, people are really into TikTok and stuff like that, but people come to YouTube for long form content for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Even with shorts. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I would have agreed with you on that, but like I've noticed that even my own content consuming has shifted. And I get frustrated at myself about it because I feel like when I'm scrolling through shorts that I'm wasting my time a little bit, like I'm like
Yeah,
burning time because
Taco
that's
Bell.
really great for burning time. But when you're doing that, you're not really like mindfully clicking on stuff. You're letting the algorithm decide what it's feeding you next.
Yeah, that's fair. Well,
And I like more purposeful watching of content. Like I want to watch something Minecraft like a let's play, for
so
example, or I want to watch a new game.
what's interesting about that is I kind of have the opposite experience. I almost only ever click on a short when I'm curious about it. I don't do a lot of doom scrolling, and I spend way more of my time watching videos that are like an hour plus.
Hmm, interesting.
But I don't know. I mean, which of us is in the majority? I have no idea. You know,
Yeah,
anecdotally, I
I
could tell
don't
you the
know.
shorts do better than long form, but again, that's just anecdotal. So it's like that's just based on what I can tell in my very small bubble.
Well, and it makes sense why they do better from what I said like a minute ago. Like the
Oh, exactly.
Like you don't have to make an interesting thumbnail for people to click on. They just go to the video, and as long as you're hitting the whatever satisfying lizard brainy thing to make people not click away, because that's why people are able to make videos of like lawn care.
Yeah, that's what my dad did. He has a lawn care or a tractor channel that has like 2,000 subscribers, and he had like a whole following. He was like full monetized, everything.
Yeah, but he stopped doing videos
He did. He
right
did.
before shorts became like a fun thing. Like if he started cutting up that content for shorts, I bet he'd be sitting really nice with subscribers now.
He just ran out of
I
time. I
wouldn't put
mean,
it past being in like the tens of thousands.
oh, I 100% he could. I mean, he got involved with some of the largest names in the industry. Like he had GP Outdoors. I think he has like 400,000 or 500,000 subscribers. I think he has one guy that has like 1 million subs that he was like actively always communicating with, and like that would comment on his stuff. He got like editing coaching from some of these guys too. Like he got ingrained in like the tractor community,
Mm-hmm.
which was weird because then
It's
he
very
just
weird. 'Cause
because
it's
then he
not
just
something you'd think.
very very niche community.
I
Oh,
think I made a mistake.
I think I did too. I'm getting the heck out of here. Um, so I think generally speaking though, the problem I have though with the logic though is like, yeah, if it's a video I upload, a short's gonna do way better. Period. Dot. End of discussion. But then if I look at somebody like I don't know, do you watch MKBHD at all for his like technology
I
reviews?
I don't think so.
Very very famous YouTuber. Um, like almost one of those people that when you talk about YouTube, his face comes up kind of person. If you're in the technology space, um, I am because I work in it to some degree, so mm, uh, I probably know more about it in that regard. But
Mm-hmm.
functionally speaking, when a new phone or a new like high profile laptop or something like that or a tablet or something like that comes out, he reviews it, and he actually has a podcast and everything where he talks about um, kind of the artistry thereof of doing the YouTube and stuff like that. Don't remember where I was going with that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but so for example, like any video he uploads, right? If he uploads a video about an obscure smartphone, right? Like the Xiaomi Mate Pro or some whatever, right? Some crap that nobody's ever heard of, like Chinese stuff, which he does do. Any
Mm-hmm.
crap video, long term, like 20-minute plus video that he's going to upload about that phone is going to perform better than the short associated with it.
Interesting.
Right. So what's
I guess
interesting,
that's the type of content as well.
right? So that's the other thing, right? And that's the thing that I'm trying to figure out for gaming that I can't quite nail down, as we've kind of talked about a little bit.
Mhm.
Is with gaming, it seems like kind of a catch 22 because it's hard situationally to make short form gaming content in general.
Without it being memey.
Right. So I don't know. So it's like any short that I'm going to put out is going to do better for me per capita because it captures a randomized audience. For somebody with an audience to begin with, though,
Mm-hmm.
um, they're going to do better with long form content. So that's why ultimately, back to the defense of I'm dropping shorts off my channel. Um, now that I have some version of an audience, not that it's a massive audience, I can count on the fact that I'm going to get probably 100 views for my Minecraft series episodes. you know,
Mm-hmm.
give or take. Now with oddball never know stuff, um, it makes me want to focus more on building the audience rather than um, building the or keeping the audience I do have and growing from that launch pad rather than um, trying to attract people that are only there for the memes. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
yeah. That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Now, again, if your goal fundamentally is to make people smile and have a chuckle as they walk about their day, then shorts are definitely the way to go. Like if
Oh,
that,
and what I'm going for a little bit too is like that's the kind of audience I'm trying to attract as well. Like I want the people that'll just kind of laugh and like
so
the dream would be that like eventually I get an audience established that they're just watching me for me because I can just make whatever I'm doing funny, memeable, entertaining, kind of similar to like uh, Markiplier or something like, or
mhm,
Jacksepticeye. Like those guys, like they it doesn't matter what they play. They try and play stuff that's relevant because they don't want to lose their audience,
yeah.
but they can kind of play whatever they want and it'll get millions of views and people will enjoy themselves and leave likes and it makes some of their days.
So I guess I think the problem with the real strategy or with the short strategy though, I think the fundamental problem with that I've discovered is it's a completely different audience. So the people who watch shorts are not the same people that are going to stay and watch your long form content.
Yes, and I've discovered that a little bit from one of my coworkers because I have one of my friend coworkers that like I'll talk to about like outside of work stuff,
Mm.
and he subscribed to me. He watches my shorts, but he can't do the long form content. He just can't. Like he does not have the attention span or care to sit down and watch a 20, not even like a 15-minute video.
Yeah. So that's exactly the
He's
same scenario as one of my other youth group leaders. He subscribes to the channel, he watches the shorts, and he was like, "Hey, you stopped doing shorts." I was like, "Yeah, I did." Same exact thing. Doesn't have the attention span, doesn't have the time, doesn't have the whatever motivation to watch the long form content. So I think it's a different audience.
mhm. And so like would you argue like if like as far as like setting up a goal, like what I plan on doing, should I put more effort into the shorts since that's getting the reactions that I'm liking, or should I like I'm not asking you in a way like
Yeah, yeah,
hey
yeah,
like, like I'm gonna actually do what you say, but
yeah,
like
yeah,
your
yeah.
opinion of it is like what for goal based thought process would you
So if I were you, this is where it goes back to this is one of the few decisions you get to make as somebody trying to market something, is my perspective on it, right? Is
mm-hmm,
you get to determine who your market or your target audience is. So, and that's ultimately, again, I keep harping on the fact that I dropped shorts, right?
mm-hmm,
Um, the reason I dropped shorts is because it's not necessarily the audience I'm after. Um, I want people that are going to sit down and watch the long-term videos because functionally I enjoy making the long form videos more. Um, I could be a slave to the grind of cranking out shorts, but that's not why I'm doing YouTube. Um, you know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
So I think where the rubber meets the road is, um, I think there is a space for both to some extent, but I think that's a decision that, knowing that they're two different audiences, right? Knowing that they're two different audiences, it's a decision that you might want to look at and say, which audience do I actually want to be on my channel? So for your goal of saying, um, I want people to watch my content for me and I can upload anything or play a game in any way and have people enjoy that, does that look like short form content or long form content to you?
Short form.
See, that for me, it's the opposite. I would prefer me being
Mhm.
able to sit down and play a game and write a narrative or something like that, or have the lore around it. Have the I enjoy recording a 30-minute video. That's just me putting together like the artistic, like movie style cinematic thing that I cannot do in a short.
Mm-hmm. And I love the memes. Like, I think even like back in the day, like some of my favorite projects that I worked on were shorter videos that I just like put a ton of effort into.
Hmm.
Like um my channel trailer I was telling you about.
Hmm.
Like I went back and watched that, and my kids thought it was a short even.
Oh, really?
Because they're just like, that was silly. It's like, well, that was the trailer for my channel. Like, if someone wasn't subscribed and they came to my channel, that's the first thing they would see.
Hmm.
And they're like, it's really funny.
That's interesting. Yeah. I
I think the only other like long form video that I was super proud of was like the Hossie video. But like when I
Oh,
look
that's a
back at it,
classic.
that was
Yeah.
such terrible editing, but I was just doing the best with what I got.
Yeah. Oh, that was such a fun episode. Um, yeah, so I mean, I think that's the question, right? Is like, if for me, my goals are much more based around, um, much more based around telling a story that people want to hear, and it's very, very hard to tell a story with a short.
I've seen it done. Like
It's doable,
it's its whole own genre of shorts, though, for
right?
sure. Where like people like upload a clip of like this is the conversation, and they're usually just talking to themselves, and they just like each character is wearing different clothes or something.
Hmm. Oh yeah, I've seen it. Um,
And those are pretty interesting. And even my wife like finds some that she'll watch, and like I catch like one of the shorts like later on, and I was like, that made no sense. And she was like, oh, it's because this happened and this happened. And it's like a full on drama.
yeah, I've
I was like,
seen I've
what?
seen some of those for sure. Like there's a time and place for those for sure, but it's not the so I'm far more interested in the very slow paced world building narrative. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Which is why a game like Minecraft appeals to me so much, right? And why it hasn't ever died for me.
Yeah, because it is very slow paced. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the story of your world kind of unfolds with the world and the shenanigans you get up to, you know?
Hmm.
Problem with
Yeah,
shorts.
the
So
amount of effort.
if you
Hmm?
notice with shorts, the requirements to get monetized with shorts is you have to have 10 million
Ridiculous.
views within 90 days. It's not even the 28, or it's not even the 365 days like the 4,000 hours.
So it's basically asking you to become viral.
Yep. And not just like viral. You got to be like if you got 1 million views within 90 days, that's not enough.
Mm-hmm. And I would count 1 million views on a single video, that video being viral.
Oh, that's what I mean. That's what
I
I
don't know
mean.
what the actual like terminology for it would be.
But you'd straight up have to have 10 million in
And that
90
is
days.
not likely.
Right. So that's where I'm like, from a perspective of if you actually want to make it a long-term thing, it's actually probably easier to get the 4,000 hours, even though that seems lofty.
Mm-hmm.
In my case, that's the long-term strategy, you know. But if you wanted to build a channel around shorts, for example, hypothetically, if you wanted to build a channel around shorts, um, you'd almost be better off using your long form content to point at your shorts rather than the other way around.
I've never seen that done.
I'm not necessarily saying it's possible per se, but what I'm saying is like make the long form content so that you can peel shorts off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily like use them to advertise your shorts per se, but use them
But
like
I
create the
get what
content.
you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like it's like the way I'd say is like keeping the shorts in mind. Like set
Mhm.
yourself up to make clippable moments.
Mhm.
That's tricky in a game like Minecraft.
Oh, no doubt.
But like you go into like split fiction. Every single split fiction episode, like I go through, I'm like, that's short. Like, and so to me, in like split fiction, I feel like getting shorts out of it is like, okay, I gotta pick the best shorts out of it versus just like
Mhm.
flooding my content with like a ton of shorts in like that small amount of time.
Yeah. No, I think in a game like Minecraft, for example, I think what I would do if I was in your position for your long form content is I would probably try and capture the things that like everybody like can relate to in Minecraft, right? Because it's like
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about, like what Minecraft actually is versus what it could be. Capture like the relatable moments and try to set yourself up for those.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, my top viewed Minecraft short is the when you see a bit of water at the bottom of a cave.
Yep. Yep.
That's very relatable,
Yep.
and like that was not an original idea. I
No.
seen other people do shorts of that, and
Yeah.
I just happened to do it in my video, and I was like, ah, why the hell not?
Yeah.
I did it.
Well, and that's to be honest with you, I think what you got to do is like when you're trying to launch yourself out of a TNT cannon or something like that, like just stuff that
But I
like
don't want to.
you can
I
pull out
don't
of thin
like.
air to some degree.
I don't like necessarily doing video game shorts as skits
Yeah, yeah,
because like
yeah.
they lose some of the genuineness of them.
So I guess hypothetically, like if you were gonna do like an episode where again having like that 12-year-old boy in mind that shows you his switch with his Minecraft world. He's got a bazillion dogs. He's got again, just think of like the imagery of that. He's got like a roller coaster or whatever. Especially with the new minecart physics. Oh man, the amount of goofy stuff you could come up with.
Mm.
Yeah, I would focus on that. Like today's episode, we're gonna build crazy uh I would do you're still going, still trying. I totally lost my train of thought. Um, what was I saying?
Like focus on like the 12-year-old boy
Oh yeah, yeah,
audience.
yeah, yeah. So you could like set your minecart speed and stuff like that to be like 1,000 or whatever, right? And build. This is just hypothetical. I'm not saying like necessarily do this as an idea per se,
Mm-hmm.
um, but maybe like today we're gonna build a super cool roller coaster just for the heck of it, and then like launch yourself into the sun accidentally or something like that. Like don't necessarily set it up, but like there's a lot of shenanigans you could have with a roller coaster that goes 1,000 blocks a second.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's my thought process on it.
It's an idea.
Indeed. Well, what do you think? Have we covered all our topics that we were going to talk about today?
I think we did. I think we've kind of like talked ourselves a little bit into a like we're falling over our own words and stuff at this point because of how tired we're getting
I think you're probably right.
and how
We
long we've been talking.
probably could cut it here, I think.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening to the HayQuatChat, watching the background. We made some stupid mistakes in Skyblock. I definitely cheated a lava block back in, but again, this is just for
Oh, I didn't notice that.
yeah. Well, that's how we have
I
our
almost had a panic attack earlier over there because I almost jumped over that thing, or I was gonna try and sprint jump over that gap we had while I was holding the water bucket.
oof. Yeah,
Like, yeah,
I made you an operator as well, just
I saw that.
just in case you needed to. But regardless, if you enjoyed watching, again, we made some super dumb mistakes in our Skyblock world, but again, this isn't
The
really the
podcast,
point of
not
it.
a let's play.
Exactly, exactly. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, uh, please share it with your friends and leave a like. What do you have
If you
to
have
say for
ideas for
yourself?
other topics, let us know.
Yeah, so I did actually talk to my wife about, or that was tell her we were doing this. If you were interested to hear from her in the near future, she'd probably be down to join.
Hmm.
I imagine your wife would be too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think so.
Could be interesting to have some guest folks on as well.
No, they'll just take over the podcast and talk for us. We could just focus on the Skyblock.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I think my wife and your wife are both whitelisted on the server as well.
I don't think they'd hop on, though, would they?
I don't know. It's up to them.
I don't know.
Either way, regardless, let us know what you want us to talk about and if you want us to talk even more. I think we covered some good stuff. I don't know what the regular schedule of this is going to be just yet. Probably go every other week for a little while, maybe. Go from there, eh?
Hmm. Yeah, every other week and make it work out. Because we've been recording for a little over 2 hours, about
Yeah.
2 and a quarter.
Heck yeah. Well,
That's about the length of a podcast I would listen to.
same. Something I would turn on and then fall asleep to.
Hmm.
Tried to keep our volume down on our Minecraft world so that you could hear mostly what we were talking about instead of what we were playing.
Hmm.
But regardless, goodbye.
Bye bye.